Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now February 19th of 2025, and given that the Snl 50th anniversary received tons of backlash and pushback for multiple reasons, mostly related to the Tom Hanks situation, the Tom Hanks portrayal of a Trump supporter during the 50th anniversary, it completely backfired on NBC and SNL, and especially on Tom Hanks himself, since he is now bleeding fans, losing fans left and right. He even went as far to disable comments on his Instagram. We have a lot more to talk about that as well. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with a lot of actors, actresses, celebrities, personalities beginning to actually call out SNL and or defend SNL. We have a lot of differing opinions out there about this whole comedy sketch, and a lot of viewers, mind you, are either offended or they supported and laughed at the sketch. There's a lot of differing opinions out there, but what I actually felt about it was that it really did go out of line. It really was a misrepresentation of those that support President Donald Trump, and it really did backfire on Tom Hanks. There's no doubt about this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about, Mel Gibson is that we know that he's very vocal when it comes to him being a very big patriot of himself. He knows that there are a lot of those that feel the same way that he does, that comedy and the media, the film industry, whatever you want to say, everything in the entertainment/show business has been very one-sided for a very long time now, especially when things escalated since 2016. What's interesting here, though, has a lot to do with Mel Gibson's view of the Tom Hanks backlash and everything in between SNL and NBC, and how they're getting so much backlash that we have never seen before. Now, with the entire media and film industry now in panic mode after the public pushback and backlash growing in numbers throughout 2025, one major development that is going on now involves more to do with Mel Gibson getting involved with the Tom Hanks backlash after he mocked Trump supporters during the SNL 50th anniversary. Gibson delivered the following. Look, I just looked at that comedy sketch from Tom as a very big mistake on his end. I thought it was coming from a very bad place. It was most certainly not done out of good fun. This was a direct verbal attack and misrepresentation of what the MAGA movement stands for and what it's all about. And I won't stand for something like that. As a patriot, this kind of behavior needs to be called out for what it is. Nothing more than a messaging program. That's what many of these SNL skits are, man. I mean, you just take one look at the ratio. How often does NBC and SNL do this kind of thing toward Democrats? Not so much, right? Look, I would believe in Tom Hanks' explanation of comedy and what it means if everything was balanced and not biased, and really poked fun at both sides equally. And that's the problem I have with this sort of thing. It's the very thing that leads to a divisive country, which we are living in right now. Look, Tom is not a comedian. It didn't work for me. It wasn't funny. But hey, I'm not a comedian either, so who am I to say what's right? And look, I have made so many mistakes in my life, and I have been really trying to improve myself. So I don't always like to put people in a bad spot, but come on, man. Tom just keeps going through this route and keeps doing this sort of thing over and over, making MAGA look so bad, especially on live television. It was just unacceptable behavior, and unacceptable coming from those executives that gave the okay on this portrayal of MAGA from Hanks. I think when we look at comedy, it really should be more expansive. You shouldn't be a one-trick pony where all you do is mock one side of the country that voted for someone like Trump to bring change to this wonderful land. And as a patriot, I really just am disgusted how we are portrayed. It's no different than how many other stereotypes are incorrectly used in comedy, and they are doing that now with the MAGA movement. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment before I move on about everything related to the Tom Hanks situation. Now look, you know things got bad, alright, when Tom Hanks has to disable his Instagram comments. If you guys want to go ahead and check his Instagram account right now to keep us up to date if that's still active, or if it's actually disabled still. As far as I know, the last time I checked it was indeed disabled. But what's interesting about this is that Mel Gibson points out a very important thing, is that it is true that programs like SNL, there is a lot of messaging there disguised as comedy. I mean, that's just the given fact. It's reality at this point, and it really all started to escalate since 2016. There's really no doubt about that at all, so he's definitely right in that field. Now look, Mel Gibson has a lot of criticism toward him based on his past. We all know that. I think that everyone is very well aware about that. But one thing is for certain is that Mel Gibson is a true patriot. He loves his country. He loves everything that comes along with it. And he just felt like, you know, there's a lot of betrayal coming from programs like SNL. And SNL really has not been all that great ever since at least the 70s and the 80s. I pointed this out several times. Ever since they approached the 1990s, it has gone downhill. It fell off a huge cliff, and it has been just nothing more than a dumpster fire since. But I digress. Let's move on forward of what Gibson has to say. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is that he goes on to actually elaborate further. I think SNL, he says, really needs to look in the mirror and see where they went wrong over 30 years ago. They are really lacking comedic material that really makes the news and makes everyone laugh. We need more of that again, and I think Tom just put them in a bad place right now. But again, who am I to say, right? I'm no comedian. I'm no executive running NBC. But what I am is a patriot who loves my country, who knows many like myself that are in no way, shape, or form what Tom Hanks represented in that skit on SNL. That was just awful to watch, and I just hope that guy learns a lesson after this. It was an utter disgrace. So again, we have, of course, a lot of these actors, celebrities, personalities, and those that love this country that are beginning to call out Tom Hanks. Now, you also, on the other end, have people like Jimmy Kimmel defending Tom Hanks. You have people like Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg defending Tom Hanks and believe that he did a great thing there, and that the backlash is just a minority of people, when in reality, it is a pretty large chunk of the country. Let's be real. So again, we know that there's a lot of things going on with SNL right now. They are losing fans at a very fast rate, and we'll go over those metrics in the coming days. It's going to be very interesting. There are a lot of people now boycotting SNL just because of that one skit alone, and I would not be too shocked, much like how a lot of these different studios within the film industry are departing from their DEI programs, their DEI departments, and are beginning to become, you know, less biased to one side of the country when it comes to, you know, either their messaging or their agenda and how they tell stories. That is all beginning to diminish, and it's happening quite rapidly at this point, faster than we ever would have thought of. So I would not be too shocked if SNL does take a stand back after this whole thing, but I would like to hear what everyone has to say about Gibson, about Tom Hanks, about the whole SNL 50th anniversary situation, because again, even Bill Maher believed that Tom Hanks was not all that funny in the skit, and that it did anger a majority of the country, not a minority, alright? That's the thing about a lot of these executives, a lot of these studios within show business, is that they believe that whenever they get backlash, it's just coming from a minority, a very vocal, loud minority that appears to be bigger than what they really are. That's their belief, when in reality it really is quite a large chunk of their core customer base that's really growing very angry. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all of this below in the comments between Mel Gibson, Tom Hanks, SNL. What do you think about SNL? Were they ever funny? Did they lose their overall comedic value at a specific time? And when was that to you guys? And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.